Okay, so now we're going to talk about even and odd functions. An even function, I'll give you an example of one. So an even function is like our toolkit function f of x equals x squared. So the squaring function. Okay, or the quadratic function, that's what we call it. Okay, so that looks like this, kind of, right? Okay, it is symmetric. That graph is symmetric about the y-axis. What that means is if I were to fold my piece of paper along the y-axis, the points on the left are going to line up with the points on the right. That is a characteristic of an even function. Okay? Another even function is the absolute value function. That's even. Okay, so here's the rule though algebraically. If you take f of the opposite of x, it equals the original function. Okay? So that's kind of the test right here. That's the test to see if something's an even function. You find f of negative x, and if it turns out it didn't change anything, then, it's the same. Watch what happens here. So like for my function right here, if I put in negative x, I get negative x squared, which simplifies to just be x squared. It's the same thing that it was at the beginning. Okay? That is an even function. Okay. Now your book writes the test just a tad bit different, but that's the same thing. Okay. An odd function. An example of an odd function is f of x equals x cubed, the cubic function. Okay. The cubic function looks like this. Okay, so for an odd function, it's said to be symmetric about the origin. So if I were to fold my piece of paper along the y-axis and then fold it again along the x-axis, those points would line up. Okay? So that's what we mean by symmetric about the origin. Okay? The test for an odd function is if you take the function at negative x, it's equal to the opposite of the original function. So I can show it on our example here. It won't be too exciting, but f of negative x would be equal to negative x cubed, but that just equals negative x cubed, so it's the opposite of the function, right? It's the opposite of f of x. Okay, so those are the tests, even function, odd function. Both of them, you put in negative x, and you see what happens. If it comes out the same, then it's an even function. If it comes out the opposite of the original function, then it's an odd function. If it doesn't do either one, then it's not even or odd. It doesn't have to be an odd or even function. It could just be a function that's not even or odd. Okay, and that's how we do even and odd functions. So I think the example's in the next video.